Game number 2, Apocalypse versus Bly, and Bly is in a 1-0 lead against his Terran opponent. In the first map, Bly decided on 20 Harvesters to go for Roach Warren Speedlings, even had a Baneling Nest lined up. He didn't even need that. Apocalypse got, unluckily, all of his Hellions surrounded immediately. Bly took them out and won the game, easy as that. With the Hellions, Apocalypse might have had a chance there. It's really strong when you're facing an all-in like this, but the one thing that you always have to keep in mind is that Terran doesn't really rely on SCVs in that stage of the game. Apocalypse was going into an early third command center, and even if you lose like all of your Harvesters, then you can still turn a game like this around if you have 3 CCs. It might sound a little bit weird, but I actually casted a game already between Bomber and Bly, and granted, Bomber is a better player than Apocalypse. But I casted one of those matches where Bly went for a very similar strategy, and he was able to take down every single SCV of Bomber. And I'm not joking, like every single SCV. Bly was killing everything, and Bomber still won the game in the end because he had triple command center, triple orbital, and with the mules he got the income at the beginning that he was absolutely without a problem at all able to get the SCVs back into the game. So even if Apocalypse would have lost a lot, with those Hellions he could have defended. He would have lost a lot, don't get me wrong, it's not like he would have just completely thrown Bly back, but you can survive, and as long as you can survive as a Terran player, you can come back this early in the game, because mules are so exponentially good at this stage. And, well, this is very something where Apocalypse just probably was just having one of those FML moments when he looks at the map and he's like, what? Where did my Hellions go? Where are my Hellions? And all of the Hellions just got surrounded and bam, gone. And that was just absolutely unfortunate for him. He could have scouted a little bit better and maybe even sacrificed the Reaper to get a second scout in the base. That would have helped him. So identifying what's going on is usually what you really need to do, and that's what the Reaper is for. But of course that's also what the Zerg player knows, so he will always try to work against that. For now we have just a bit of scouting going on, mainly for Bly. Denied by the supply depot for a second. But yeah, has a quick look in the main base and he knows already that it's once more a Reaper build that he's facing here. We have him with a build where he goes into hatch first and then into the spawning pool, very normal opening, but delaying his gas a little bit in comparison to what we saw in the last game. So, looking at what Apocalypse is currently doing is just like having a quick scout, dodging a potential block here at the natural by a drone, but that wouldn't have mattered too much since we already have one Reaper on the way, so that he could have taken out whatever blocks the SCV there. But Apocalypse, he must be a little bit frustrated right now, because I mean, the guy played a great tournament, and then he loses to the young Protoss player there in a couple of matches where he probably thought, alright, I got this, I'm gonna win that. Especially getting cheesed in game number 1 with a double cheese and not spotting it and therefore losing the game. But then against Bly now, after you play for so long in a tournament, you are one map loss away from not achieving anything, and that must be so horribly frustrating that I don't even know how he feels right now. And I really hope that he can put those feelings aside, just focus on the game and say like, you know what, I'm still gonna make it, I'm gonna win this, I'm gonna qualify, I'm gonna go to Finland, I'm gonna go to Helsinki, I'm gonna show everyone in Finland at ASUS RoG how good I actually am. So Bly going up against a Terran player who might find himself here in a little bit of a psychological predicament, but he himself, of course, everything going well so far. Played a good first game, won it, going for the double gas now at 5-10 in the match. And what we have for Apocalypse, on the other hand, is currently a second gas, actually a second gas already taken. You know, he could actually also go for Banshees here, and he builds the tech lab at his barracks. I don't really think that we're gonna see the Banshees, to be quite honest with you, but it's something that you can always throw in. In StarCraft, it's either you're gonna play a very great game in terms of like your micro and your macro, or you can try to surprise your opponent and just blindside him with something. That's what happened in game number 1. Bly had a strategy that Apocalypse was not prepared for, and the same can happen if suddenly a Banshee appears in your base. It's of course very unlikely, and there is already the Viking being built, but every now and then you see something like this, and it's pretty cool when it works. Makes you look silly when it doesn't, because everyone is going to say immediately, yeah, well, this is not supposed to happen and whatever, but yeah. You can't do anything like that, but if it works, it's actually pretty cool. And that's especially when you develop a certain build that you want to show. And there are a lot of players that actually do that quite a bit. Hilo is one of them, and we have someone like Bly who also is very inventive when it comes down to strategies. But for now, Bly is doing a good job at spreading the creep. Very early in the game, already active with 2 queens. Very important for him to connect the second and the third base. And looking at the bottom left of the map, we still have the Viking just taking down a couple of the Overlords. And I was talking about the importance of the Viking in one of our earlier games when we had actually Protoss play, and I think there was also against Apocalypse, if I remember correctly. And back then it won Apocalypse, the so important third game, because of a massive supply block for his Zerg opponent that he didn't account for, and then suddenly he was able to snipe that third base. Unlikely that it's going to happen in this game too, but it's just something that people oftentimes underestimate a lot, and then suddenly it can absolutely snowball. Bly is taking his third base, and it's already started, so those Hellions can't really do a lot about it, since we have a good creep spread that allows the Zerglings, once that speed is done, to surround this army. So that's where Apocalypse has to be very, very careful what he's going to do. The 1-1 upgrade started, and we're most likely going to see Ling Muta Baneling by Bly in the mid stages of the game. The double early upgrade is really great for him, since we don't even have the engineering bay for Apocalypse, so that means that he will have the faster 1-1, the faster 2-2, and probably a massive upgrade lead over his opponent. So really great start here. And you can really see that we have an ASUS RoG player. Scarlet is of course the example that everyone points out when it comes down to creep spread. She's probably the player in the world who has the best creep spread by far. Jaedong also all the way up at the top there, but Bly, he is pretty good at that as well, and it is really a great advantage that you have. 2 kills on the Viking, definitely worth it already building it, and he's just shutting down all the vision that the Zerg player potentially has. Stim coming up here very soon, and a couple of Zerglings just trying to do some damage, but Apocalypse is already in position, and that is actually a pretty scary composition, to be quite honest with you. That as a double drop would do a lot. I mean, we have Hellions, we have Marauder. Hellion Marauder in itself is already quite strong, but that is going to do so much damage, especially since we also have like 2 Widow Mines. So Bly needs units, and he needs them fast. He has the Baneling list lined up perfectly, so he will be able to rely on Banelings, and he needs those. But that is still a pretty sick composition that we see there. If you get those early Widow Mines into play and have them in a good spot, then you can do so much with them. He's not even trying to scan here. He's out for blood. He doesn't want to force the creep back. He wants to do damage. Where are the Widow Mines? He needs them faster. He drops them already, but the Widow Mines are gone. Most of them. He doesn't borrow the one that he has. And Bly, he shuts this down, and he forces Apocalypse back. Oh, whoa. That did not do a lot for the Terran player. Like, not at all. It's a scary push when you see it, but it didn't do anything. And he was completely shut down there. Suddenly the 1-1 upgrades are done, and Bly could bust through. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, he could actually try to bust through here. And he's moving in. He has a quick look. He doesn't really go for it. I wouldn't be surprised to see Banelings morphing. I would not be surprised. This is Bly we're talking about. So he doesn't know what we see here right there, but I could have seen that. But on the other hand, you don't know how many Widow Mines are there. You know your opponent already has a few. But let's talk a little bit about map control. Terran players, when they have double medivac, really like to be active on the map, and as long as the mutalisks are not there, they just take down creep, they force it back, and once the Zerglings run in, they just pick up with the medivac and they move back. He has no chance of doing that. He lost way too much right now. And he lost his army, and he also doesn't have a lot of medivacs. The Spire is done, and just because of this, look how far this creep is spread 11 minutes, 12 minutes into the game. It's insane! It's absolutely insane. And this is because it's absolutely uncontested. That drop is not doing anything. He doesn't even see it. I feel Apocalypse at this point is probably already a bit resigned. I mean, fighting back from this position is so unbelievably difficult, and I do not know if he is able to do that now. We have already the +2/+2. Look at the bank that we have. Bly can go into Mutalist whenever he wants, and he does that. But we have the +2/+2, whereas these upgrades already show us that Bly will fight on 2/2 when his opponent is on a single upgrade. That's going to be a reality in this game. +2/+2 versus a simple +1 attack upgrade, and that's going to be it. That base is surviving, and it couldn't get worse for Apocalypse. I mean, he can stick around with that drop a little bit longer, but that base is not gonna go down. The third base has already been spotted. Mutalisks are moving in. Where actually are they? There's the first one, but where's the rest of them? There were like 6. Okay, they're slowly coming together here. And yeah, things for Bly are looking stellar. 58 harvesters against 77. Let's have a quick look. Do we have missile turrets somewhere? We do not have a single one. So he doesn't even have a good defense against what's coming. The Marines here, of course, are great. That drop here is actually pretty awesome. That could do damage. That was unscouted for a long time. That could do some damage. He needs to get back with his units. And yeah, he could take that base. Where's the stim? There's the stim. He can snipe that base. That's a good job. That's a job well done.
So with this, he can definitely do something. But here comes the rest of the army. The snipe on the base it's just gonna happen. But at what cost? Like, nice detonation there. Gets one of the medivacs. Not even that. So not too shabby. But where are all those mutalisks? I mean, we have by now 12 of them. And they are still somewhere on the map, but I didn't really see them do a whole lot. He's just trying to shut this down, I feel. Going in from every angle, sniping the medivacs. Oh, is he completely... No, there we go. Moving in, and medivac snipe is going strong. So yes, the base goes down, the third is eliminated, but this is still there. And we have double spine crawler to protect it. And, well, that was a little bit uncalled for. Those few medivacs just simply dropping them right to the spine crawlers. But think about what Apocalypse is doing. He's buying himself time, he's trying to stretch his opponent out. A drop at the right side of the map, a drop at the top. Just trying to go wherever he can. It's just that, like, we have all these units that are dying for him. Losing those medivacs is a big deal. You can't lose medivacs like this because they are horribly expensive, and he only has 4 against 14 mutalisks now. So he's losing another one that will put him down to 3. And look at this massive army that we see there. That's 80 army supply for Apocalypse, and funny as it is, that also means that Bly has currently only 62 thanks to his harvest account. But he can actually just kill those missile turrets, and he does exactly that. What I would like to see from Bly is Infestation Pit and attack into Hive, just because he can. The creep spread is great, he's gonna look at 4 bases. If he defends against this drop here, he can do a lot of damage. He has a ton of Banelings, 30 in total. But still, can Apocalypse defend here? He's trying, he's moving in, he's on the run right now. Where are those Widow Mines? There are none. Oh my god, Marines are going down everywhere. Busted through, and this is brutal what we see here. So many Banelings detonating also in the mineral line right now, taking down Harvesters. Mutalisks are fighting against Marines, but there are too many of them. Here we go, Banelings finally giving them some cover. Not enough on the other hand. Apocalypse is dropping in supply here. We have him with 6 Marines against 8 Mutalisks. Means the Mutalisks get a couple of free shots here. Those Marines are also at the top, taking down that base once again, but it's still 3 bases against 3. And with so many Harvesters dying for Apocalypse, it's a little bit tricky, but still, triple command center for him. The orbitals are going strong there. But so many mutalisks that he currently has, and look at that bank for Bly. He doesn't even utilize it, and I don't know why. He has no lava. The injects must have been going horribly wrong for him. Think about this with 10 additional mutalisks doing damage in this space. That would have been GG already. But apparently his his lava management was not really on top of things, and that lost him a lot here. But suddenly it's only 42 Harvesters left. Zerglings are still looking at that third base and taking down SCVs as we speak. Killed in total. Bly already with 34 against 10. All of them at the third base are also going to die. That third might actually go down. I don't really think so because we do not have the mutalisks to make that happen. But this is still a big win for Bly already. But what I like is really that this third base is being attacked over and over again by Apocalypse. And that gives him a small fighting chance. But 24 Harvesters against 68, that is not looking good. And finally Bly has the lava again. He has a macro edge in the main base by now. 14 additional mutalisks. What are you gonna do when you're Apocalypse? Do you really move out with this army and try to fight? You're looking at 73 army supply. You know that your army is in good shape. It's the economy that is absolute shit right now. So Bly could just fly by this entire army and go into the base again, try to go for a base race with as many mutalisks that he has. The one thing that really Apocalypse has, on the other hand, is an upgrade advantage. And that works well for him. Bly for a long time was fighting on better upgrades, but this is not the case anymore. And maybe he can fight a couple of decisive battles as long as Bly doesn't go into a hive tech and get his own 3-3, which I cannot understand why he doesn't do that. Because the resources are there. He has them. But he doesn't really do anything in terms of a tier 3 tech. Of course, he has such a strong tier 2 that it's currently very unlikely or very possible that Bly is able to win the game like this. But a follow-up in this situation wouldn't hurt him. Just preparing a little bit. But yeah, he's moving in again, and just the mobility that he has with the Mutalisks, it's an absolute thorn in the side of Apocalypse. The mining is just not there at that third base, and the Mutalisk count is currently at 19 with a +1 attack upgrade. That drop is moving in at the third, but I don't think that's going to work this time. There are too many Lings and Banelings just waiting for the drop to happen. And Bly is absolutely dominating this map right now. There's the drop, but it will probably be intercepted by the Mutalisks. They're already on their way, trying to go to the bottom. And Bly, look at this bank! Seriously, build that infestation pit.
Apocalypse, on the other hand, that Thor is gonna, if he can force a fight, that's the thing for him, if he can force a fight. But Bly will not fight. If Bly can avoid it, he will not fight until he has a much better advantage that he already has. He knows that he is going to win a base race scenario, and he just goes in and he cripples the production. He goes into the main base trying to take down one of the command centers. He's easily gonna achieve that. And for Apocalypse, this is a scenario where he's like, well, I just have to attack. I can't just simply run back and defend the entire game. And he will most likely win this fight. I mean, this is going to be a battle that he can definitely win. If he splits well, it's going to be tricky. So though there's so many banelings, this is actually insane. You can't dodge all of them, and especially not if you're fighting on creep while you're busy in your main base. The Mutalisk count is up at 21. This base, he might be able to burst that down, but still, the Mutalisks are just doing so much, and Bly is doubling the supply of his opponent now. That third base or fourth is gone. But so is most of the structures in Apocalypse's main base. The resources lost that we are looking at is 19,000 against 17,000 in favor of Bly. And a Zerg player playing more cost efficiently than his opponent is insanity in itself. Still no tech to tier 3, but he's just following it through with that. And in this game, it's definitely going to work out for him. The army is getting obliterated. 10 additional Mutalisks are already on the way. Apocalypse is losing everything here. He's looking at 26 army supply against 100. Bly is going to qualify for the main tournament in Finland. And Apocalypse, after a great run in the tournament, unfortunately is not able to win it and to qualify. Is not able to travel to Helsinki. So, great tournament by him, and he must be devastated right now. I really feel sorry for him. But today, Bly just proved to be the better player. And Apocalypse is going, oh my god, he's mad as hell here. GG, and thank you for the patience. And, well, leaves the game. Congratulations to Bly, taking it with a 2-0 here against his opponent and qualifying for ASUS RoG at the end of January.